Anyway, so for everybody who was like, "Oh, why would you trust CPS? Why would I trust CPS? You're right.
This topic of conversation is going to have massive trigger warnings all over it. It's not going to be a very upbeat video. Before I would discuss it, since I used to discuss this content creator, I stopped covering them because I could see that things was leading into like really problematic territory, the stuff that Veronica, aka This Mad Mama, was posting. If you go and type in This Mad Mama and then my name, a load of videos will come up. I am aware of her backstory. I have covered her quite a bit, but like I say, I took a step back because it was really depressing. There was a lot of red flags that were everywhere, even from the earlier videos that I watched of her. In recent events, what's now happened is that she's now ended up in the hospital, suspected that she overdosed on Tylenol, I think, and she's had her kids removed by CPS. And there's a lot of backstory to this. I don't feel like she's being 100% honest. Like I say, I have followed her for quite a long time. I know a little bit about her. I think they're still technically married, but her second husband, whoever, whatever, Marty, who she claims does not live in the house, but he used to live in the house. He used to dwell in their basement.
Felt embarrassed, so I let him stay. He was going to just stay in the basement. He was going to help with things, but more and more he started trying to take control, and that's not what I wanted. And so he is gone now, and I'm not having any more kids with him. So if I have any more kids in the future, it'll be if I get remarried.
He's since been arrested for in jail. There are some child allegations that have been going on. I'm going to try and walk you through it. But as of right now, her kids have been taken off of her and she has been charged with neglect. So this topic of conversation is extremely heavy.
CPS told all my children that they had to leave the house, even though I left the kids with two adults. They told my kids that they couldn't be at home, and so they just went wherever and CPS just decided that they would swoop in and take them.
We've got her eldest daughter, who called Victoria, who is now speaking out. She's got a child of her own. I don't believe she even lives in the same state, but she is trying to get some of the kids to come back to live with her. So I'll be reading through a couple of her comments as well. There's a lot of tie-ins with this. The problem is with this Mad Mama is that she's never been 100% honest, but CPS, in one capacity or the next, have been lurking on them. Okay, you can even go as far back to this article. She did an interview with this article where she was basically saying that she had to pull her kids out of school originally because CPS were going to get involved because the school were concerned that her kids weren't being fed. Okay, a lot of substance behind the fact that I personally don't feel as if this was just like she says. I feel like this has been a slew of events. So this Mad Mama, briefest of brief. So she is a mum. Her youngest is, I think, over a year old at this point. And they're ranging all the way up to, I think they've got 2 or 3 adults now in the family. She had her very first child when she was 14. She always likes to talk about this. She's a very alternative mum. Wears quite gothic clothing, and they have skeletons all around their house, and they live quite an alternative lifestyle. She drives a great big yellow school bus. She would post regularly on TikTok, and she would show us a lot about what's going on with their lives. Like I say, the warning signs were kind of there when you heard about why her kids were getting pulled out of school, why she chooses to homeschool them, the fact that her kids would eat, tinned soup or tinned spaghetti cold, just straight out the tin, the fact that a lot of her kids lived in rooms that were pretty much falling apart at the seams. The house needed a lot of work. Lots of warning flags. Her kids walking around at like 2 a.m. and one of them, she couldn't actually be the actual baby, she couldn't be bothered to actually go and clear the cot out, so she just put the baby to sleep on the floor at like 2 a.m. So when you compile it all together, your warning bells start going off. I'm trying to paint the picture of the fact that this doesn't seem to be like something that has just all of a sudden happened. Veronica came onto TikTok. She went for a little spree of not really posting a lot. She's always been quite open and honest about the fact that she has health conditions. I think she has problems with her kidney. She has different health conditions. Came on and she said that she's in the hospital and that she had to surrender one of her kids. It's not her youngest, it's her second youngest, who I believe is about 4. I'm not very good with kids' ages. Had to surrender, or she willingly did it, or whatever she says, because this particular child was actually going through cancer treatments a little while ago, diagnosed with cancer. I believe they were then in remission. Horribly sad situation. There were GoFundMe set up and people were trying to help her. This is also the same child, I think, that she couldn't be bothered to get a birth certificate for. So she actually does mention that in this video.
I didn't have a choice, and that if I voluntarily surrendered him, he could get the help he needed. I'll know where he is, and I don't have to worry about him dying before I can get his birth certificate. Like I said, it was a very difficult decision, but I just did what I thought I had to do to keep him alive. So he's not coming home until I'm able to get his documents.
She said that she willingly gave them over, and she kind of makes up a bunch of excuses as to who was left in the house. She says that, you know, there were 2 adults in the house that were looking after her kids. The rest of the kids, she's got a plethora of different ages, but like I say, I think only 2 or 3 of them are over the age of 18, one of which lives out of state, and the other one's in the military, and I think the other one was put in charge.
Video explaining why I surrendered Donnie. Now, I am not surrendering him forever. It's a voluntary thing. I'm going to know where he is, who he's with. I'm going to be able to go to him, his doctor's appointments, whatever. And in 6 to 8 months or whatever, when I finally have what I need to get his insurance, I'll be able to petition to get him back. As for the other kids, I actually just agreed to have them all, anyone who was under 18, is all in foster care right now. They're all being placed in homes, mostly separated, which is unfortunate, but it was for a completely different reason, and they will be home much sooner. Since I did it voluntarily, I'll know where they are, I'll be able to see them and spend time with them, and I think that it'll be fun for them, like camp, you know? So today, I'm finding out what really happened with my kids, and I'm pissed because CPS told me that, you know, just because I was sick, and they just wanted to help for a couple weeks. So one of my friends has one of my kids, and I was like, why are you acting like you have to get her a bed? It's only a couple weeks. She'll be fine. Just let her go home. And she was like, well, no, I have to be her foster mom now for a couple weeks. And she was like, no, CPS said it's going to be for like a year. I was like, what is going on? So I talked to one of my kids, and apparently CPS told all my children that they had to leave the house. I left the kids with 2 adults. They told my kids that they couldn't be at home, and so they just went wherever and CPS just decided that they would swoop in and take them. Charged me with neglect, like I abandoned them or something. I didn't abandon them. I left them with 2 adults. It is perfectly legal to leave your kid.
Now doesn't have any of the young children, and none of the under 18s are living in the house. They've all actually been surrendered to foster care or CPS, and instead of her, she basically turns around and says that it will be like a fun holiday for them and that she'll be able to get them back once she's out of hospital, which is just simply not the way that this is all working. Whether or not, and this is deep suspicion on my end, because in the past I've noticed that she's not very forthcoming with telling the truth about things, and it's very sensitive because, of course, we have a lot of children involved. One of my suspicions is that perhaps CPS then went to the house and then realized what was going on, the state of the house, the care in which the children were having. Veronica was saying, well, I surrendered them because I wanted them to eat, that sort of thing. Apparently there wasn't running water.
That's basically the whole story as of right now. I was okay with them taking Donnie so that Donnie can get medical care so he doesn't die. I didn't want them taking the other kids. I only agreed to it because I didn't know what was going on, and I was confused, and I thought, yeah, I don't want my kids to starve if no one's willing to take care of them. I don't know why they're not just with Adam, but okay.
I didn't know that they told my kids to leave the house so that they could charge me with neglect. My daughter, she was like, oh yeah, and there's no running water at your house. So then I contact Adam, and I'm like, Adam, why didn't you just tell me there's no running water at the house? I'll send you some money. So he sends me a video of the water running, and I'm like, so what the fuck? Like, they just were making shit up and putting stuff in their little paperwork that was completely untrue, and that's why I'm pissed right now.
She was then charged with neglect. She then comes back on, and she then, in a follow-up videos, then starts saying, she's extremely angry that CPS took advantage of her when she was in a very delicate situation because she was hallucinating, because she had an overdose of Tylenol that she says that she took because her wisdom teeth, she got her teeth pulled out. So yeah, she claims that it was accidental. She says that she's going to be going through the steps to try and get them back. And anyone who knows anything, I don't know a great deal about it, but I've read a bit about it. I don't have any experience in it, but it's going to be extremely challenging for her to try and get all 9 or 10 children back to her. Things that she did say as well, which really struck a nerve with me, was that she was talking to a friend, I think, who has one of her younger kids, and they were saying, we're going to buy them a bed, and Veronica was like, no, you don't need to buy a bed, trying to make it out like this would be a short-term thing, or like the fact that she didn't think that the child needed to be comfortable, or that they would want comfort in the fact that they would have a bed. It's stuff like this that just makes you go like, yeah, it's stuff like this which is the reason why I stopped covering her in the very first place. One of the reasonings why I'm just feeling a little bit skeptical about, the husband, as my mama said, oh, he's in jail. He was actually done, and I don't know if I can even find any of the various screenshots, but he was done in May. I can't even say this for something to do with children. Okay, he was arrested. Supposedly he's in jail. There has been this long-standing suspicion that Marcy, who is a lot of the dad's kids, has basically been dwelling in the basement, and that he never really moved out.
So I don't like my husband. I only call him my husband because I haven't had a chance to get divorce papers drawn up because it's very expensive to get a divorce. And it's Christmas time, so I've been focusing on presents for the kids. A lot of people wonder, well, why would you have another kid with somebody that you don't even like? And it's complicated, and I don't want to explain it all right now, but maybe later I will. I will say that I wanted to divorce him, well, for years technically, but he was going to move out when we first moved here. But then I joined TikTok, and to be honest, I felt a lot of pressure from people. They were calling me like a single mom and everything, and I don't know, I just felt embarrassed. So I let him stay. He was going to just stay in the basement, and he was going to help with things. But more and more, he started trying to take control.
Only that, but we've also had in the past where Veronica's, and this is in the past, by the way, this isn't even present, where Veronica's come out and felt like she was essayed by him, and has also made reference to the fact that she knew about what was happening with some of her other kids as well in relation to this Marty person, who, by the way, was dwelling in their basement. This is just one of the many reasonings why I don't talk about her, okay, because it makes me really quite furious. And we now have Victoria, who is her eldest daughter, who is coming out and talking about it. And she has on and off spoken about this, how she had to live with her abuser, and so on and so forth. How this is all happening, it kind of paints a picture that there is much more to it than just, Veronica overdosing on Tylenol and then not being coherent enough to be able to, properly direct where her kids are going. There's a lot more to this than meets the eye, and I don't think a lot of people realize it because they just see her on TikTok, but it's really the underground sleuths that have been going around and actually piecing this all together. And, she's made reference to it in the past that Marcy would dwell in her basement, but allegedly he's moved out, but now he's being done for DV and then also child. So it just paints a really, 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 really nasty picture. So we're just going to go through a few of the screenshots that I have found from Victoria, who is the eldest daughter. Like I say, this is all on Reddit. Someone said, your sibling's dad was arrested for SAing them. Did your mum know it was going on? Hope you are choosing to go no contact with her. If so, disgusting. She says, I don't really like to talk about the situation about the situation about their dad with strangers. Sorry, it's still very upsetting and traumatic to me for multiple reasons. Jackson says, he definitely deserves jail. It's a difficult situation. My mum didn't know until a couple years ago and has been trying to divorce him ever since, but he's always been a controlling narcissist, sadly. She's also got a 2-year-old daughter as well, who she says is perfectly fine and healthy. We owe it to our children to do that work to heal. Someone said years, and she allowed him around the kids. Jack says not allowed. He was told to leave many times. There are plenty of fights over it. He's a controlling narcissist who made himself look like a hero to his friends and family. She's now going on to talk about what she's going to be doing with the other kids, and she wants to be able to have some of the kids, basically. Thinking about you, and I hope you are able to at least be in contact with some of your siblings. Don't beat yourself up for any of this. It's not your fault, and you're an awesome mum and sister. She says, I'm in contact with my sister because she's almost 17. It's breaking me not having contact with the little kids, though. She then says, it's fine. I love them and I don't mind taking them in. It just sucks that it has come to this. Someone said, I was put in a situation where my mum lost 3 of my siblings, all dealing with CSA neglect. I am the older sibling. If you need advice, I'm here. I'll be looking for your GoFundMe or Cash App. And she said, at the moment, I'm just waiting to see if they'll let my mum get the kids back after tomorrow. She's out of the hospital now. I don't want to take people's money for a GoFundMe if they can go home. Someone asked, is your mum divorced with the kid's dad? And also, do you have contact with your siblings? She said, they're separated and he's not allowed contact with her or the kids. I have contact with the older kids, but mostly just my sister at the moment. She also says that she is going to try and set up a GoFundMe. She's then going to try and set up an Amazon wish list to do with these children. It's honestly an absolutely horrible situation. The whole entire thing's horrible. I think the whole premise behind this video is the fact that if you stumbled across this mad mama and you're just feeling a little bit confused, there is a whole entire history, and that doesn't mean to say that you can't help out, and that doesn't mean to say that you can do it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to understand, because I feel like a lot of this is not being very transparent from Veronica. I think that there's been a series of things that she has done. That doesn't mean to say that she is not a victim, but she also, she's also making her kids the victim as well. I've seen it. We've all seen it. We've watched through her videos, and in my own opinion, it was a matter of time. A lot of people are saying, oh, Alicia should have them, because how I found out about this mad mama was through Alicia Doherty, because they used to do collabs together. I think that she's being very naive in the situation to think that she's just going to be able to get her kids back like tomorrow, because I do honestly feel like CPS have maybe been having their eye out, or there's something else has gone on to do with Marcy, who the dad. But the fact that she can't quite see that to the kids this is not going to be a sleepover, this is not going to be a fun experience.
Like, I was hallucinating so bad. Like, I can't even explain it, because I plan on writing a book to explain it, and I don't want to give away the plot, I guess. So, once I get the book made, you guys should, buy it and show some support. Anyway.
From an outsider's perspective, a lot of those kids were very kind of closed off from society, apart from when they'd all go to a shop. They were very closed off, and that's going to be a real difficult one, especially with the younger ones suddenly being thrusted into foster care, which I believe the system isn't. It's a lot of cases actually better to be with the parent than to be put in the system. It's just a horrible thing, but I thought I would just bring it to you, because for the sounds of it, Victoria is wanting to try and get the kids with her. We have to see what's going to be happening with this mad mama. I think that she needs to be 100% transparent about what exactly has gone on, especially if she's then asking for money, do you know what I mean, on top of it, because there might be a whole entire layer that we're just not quite aware of, and I really have a feeling that there is. I don't think it is as black and white as she is making out, and it's a horrible situation, and I really do hope that all of those kids can ground themselves soon, because I can imagine it's a very ungrounding experience. But that is pretty much all I wanted to say. I promise I'm going to come tomorrow and have a really upbeat video, but I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves. I'll catch up with you guys in the next video.